Alright, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. This is Grim the Lord of Soul. Today we're going to be doing a channel update, going over some ideas that I have for future projects. Some more analytics came in. I want to welcome all the new subscribers I got for the past month, at least 5 of them. Very nice, always good to have you guys. Welcome to the show. I hope you find something you enjoy. The videos that seem to be doing the best at the moment are the professional wrestling ones, which is perfectly fine. I don't mind being a wrestling channel. Truth be told, I do enjoy wrestling, even if I'm not a fan of much of the modern product. But I still enjoy watching old stuff. I still enjoy, giving my input as best I can as somebody who's been a wrestling fan for most of his life. So, welcome, wrestling fans. Hopefully, you can find some original content here, which is the topic of this particular podcast video. I want to introduce you guys to some of the ideas that I have going forward. I'm going to keep doing the series I've been doing, going over the major wrestling games over the years. We're about halfway through the sculptured software run of WWF games back in the day. I needed a little bit of a break. That's why I started doing Digimon, because that old system, that tug-of-war system they had in the 93, 94 games, 92 was a little rough around the edges, and especially after playing Rage in the Cage, which normally I like Rage in the Cage. It's a fun game, but when you play that tournament mode, it really sucks the fun just straight out of it, because you have to fight all 20 wrestlers, and that's when the flaws, and it progressively getting more difficult, the flaws of the system become more and more apparent. Even with Turbo Controller, it's it wasn't a fun mode, but regardless, I still like those games, and I'm glad I got to play them on the channel. Going forward, we'll be going back to the arcades, doing the WrestleMania the arcade game and its sequel, which was a console exclusive, There Goes the Neighborhood in Your House. And we'll, again, be sticking with sculptured software from there forward, doing, we'll skip Warzone, we'll do Attitude, and we'll continue following them because they lost the WWF contract, and they went on to make ECW games, the only 2 ECW games I'm aware of. And we'll revisit them later with Legends of Wrestling, but we'll put that on hold, and I'll only do one of the ECW games because we're kind of focusing on, the hit point, because there's too many games. I could play every wrestling game from every year. I'd be at this for the rest of my life probably. So we want to create some kind of structure we can follow, and that's the idea. We'll finish that sculptured software run up to the ECW game, and from there we'll broaden our horizons to the more unique titles from that era, and move forward from the Attitude Era. Forward to making those videos for you guys, and hopefully there's some enjoyable content for you. I'm trying to make original content because there's only so many content creators that focus on professional wrestling, especially the video game side of things. They tend to all do the same thing, which is just whatever the new thing is, and it's whatever mode is the easiest to farm for content. Stuff like the My Faction modes and the island and all that, and just kind of and they do of course the story modes. But they just kind of, it's like a production line where they're just producing the stuff over and over again and continuing forward. I like to do retro stuff, and I like to do it for real, too. I don't just pop it in for a match or two. I want to play through the modes and get the good idea of it. I'm not going to do everything. We're not going to do, huge deep dives into the various different titles over the years. But I am going to try to hit the major points, and we can revisit stuff later on. The reason I'm also doing that is because I have other ideas to go along with it. So that's probably going to be the backbone, is this, and I do want to create this kind of ongoing heritage of different creator wrestlers that I'll make these original content wrestlers. A lot of people don't do that. They'll just pick one of the existing wrestlers, rip their way through the season mode and move on to the next one. I want to try and create an ongoing context for these games so that they can relate to each other, and it can feel a little more real and a little more interesting, produce some unique elements to it as we go along. So that's the plan with these titles. That's why when I played King of the Ring and I created a father. There you go, I am your father. I created a wrestler inspired by my father, the mechanic Stu Jones, and he will be coming back again in future titles. And of course, I plan on creating a wrestler based on myself. I'll create my own fictional son in future titles, and other content creators will probably get in and get featured in these expansions as well. Fellow subscribers can pop in as wrestlers too. I want to create, ideally when this is done, I want to do a whole section of universe mode where I create my own wrestling federation, right? And I bring in all these wrestlers from these different eras that I've made through these different games, and we can all have this big this organization of wrestling that actually has some heritage behind it, some history, which should be pretty fun as long as everything works out. So it's a unique project that is hopefully going to provide people with something interesting to watch, whether they're into the current product of wrestling or not, just something new and something different. That's the idea going forward. The other thing I want to do, ongoing project, is I do want to get into the Japanese wrestling games as much as I can. The trick, of course, is they're in Japanese, right? And most people would say, well, who cares? It's a wrestling game. Well, it'd be nice to know what the menu options are and who I'm playing as for starters. I'm not eminently familiar with all the Japanese wrestlers throughout history, and there's been Japanese wrestling games as long as there's been American ones. So there's decades of titles to go through with rosters from all the eras, and in fact, I think Japanese wrestling games have probably done a more consistent job of delivering those legends from over the years. So it's basically just one roster, especially if you're looking at games like Fire Pro, that just keeps getting bigger with each new iteration, and gameplay that just keeps getting better. But there's other Japanese games as well. Yuke's has made a few. Aki, of course, has made some. And I want to go through all the big ones from the different console generation eras, So we'll start with, I do want to do some Super Nintendo, Super Fire Pro stuff. Only one Super Fire Pro game got an English translation, and it's exclusive to the story mode because I guess, God forbid, you be able to use the options menu or know who you're picking again. You have to there's this subculture of Fire Pro fans that really want you to read the old game facts and things like that on the internet to have to figure out what to do and how to play, because I don't understand why not just translate the menus for us, guys. Okay, why not give us... And the thing with Fire Pro is when you do get a westernized release, they change the names because they're all based on real wrestlers. So to avoid copyright infringement, they go with generic names. Why not just make a patch where we can get the real names so we know who's who? Because you might not know every wrestler that there is, So I don't get the pushback from the community on that. It doesn't make any sense to me. It seems like a weeb thing, but whatever. We can still get into it and try. And because there are some really good Japanese wrestling games. Even the little bit I played is very impressive. It might even be a leg up on a lot of the Western ones. So we'll see how that goes. And I do want to do that, like I said. We'll start with stuff like Super Fire Pro on the Super Nintendo and move our way up. Also, it helps that there's actually a story link. I do have the most recent Fire Pro Wrestling World, although I have it on my PlayStation 4. But I do have that and all the DLC, because there's a story DLC that's actually a sequel to one of the Super Nintendo Fire Pro Wrestling games. Super Fire Pro X, was it, I think? Not positive about that, but one of them, it had a story mode to it, and it was a really interesting story mode. And that's the one that's translated. They translated that story mode and nothing else. So we can play through that story, and I literally haven't seen anybody else upload the English version of that story, by the way. They've uploaded the Japanese version, but you don't know what's what. So again, I definitely want to play it for that, and also I forget there's a bunch of Fire Pro Wrestling games I want to play. There's, of course, the ones developed by Yuke's and Aki that were mostly like PlayStation 1, Nintendo 64 era. And there's some really good PlayStation 2 Japanese wrestling games as well. Of course, Super Fire Pro came back, and Spike, I think it was, and Human both developed their own 3D Japanese wrestling games at the time, as did, of course, Yuke's. So a lot of interesting stuff there, and I am really looking forward to digging into a lot of that. That might be something I was going to wait until I caught up with the Western stuff a bit, but I might do them at the same time. That's a good way to, when I do get tired of playing the same stuff over and over again, I can take a break and do some Japanese stuff, which will be vastly different. I'm looking forward to figuring out how those games play, because I'm always told how great they are, and they do look good when I watch other people play them, or even when I watch simulated matches. So I'd like to learn how to play and how to do it. And I want to learn about these Japanese wrestlers, too, because I am a fan. I'm in it for, I always call it the lore, but the history. I'm a student of the history of the business, so I do want to know about these guys. And I don't know. I know about Giant Baba, and I know about some of the bigger names, of course, like founded the federations, also because they appeared on Baki the Grappler, right? They had characters based on real-life people, so I am interested in playing as those as well, and seeing them in action. And other things, and getting to know some of the Japanese wrestlers I do know from over the years, and seeing how that all plays out over different generations. It should be a lot of fun. And those are more wrestlers that I can also bring into, again, that final season when I bring it all together for the 2K25 Universe mode. In the meantime, I may also do streams or something similar of Universe mode, because what I always kind of wanted to do with one of these WWE games. Ever since they added Universe Mode, I've liked it, but I've never taken the time to really delve into it because of the time it takes to set it up. I'm usually burnt out, or something else has caught my attention. So it'd be nice to actually commit and get some Universe Modes going. And what I'm thinking is perhaps to kind of to celebrate these different eras that I am playing in, I could try taking the rosters, because one of the things I like doing is taking old video game rosters, putting them in the new video games, because half the time they do some of that work for you with the Legends anyway. So I like to kind of bring those old rosters in, and it'd be interesting to use Universe Mode to try and create our own stories with these older wrestlers from these eras, try to recreate the arenas as best we can, and do our own shows and stuff, and play through the rivalries. And it should be really interesting and fun to watch. The problem is, of course, YouTube. Now, as I've been making content, I've been throwing in some bonus videos here and there from modern wrestling games to try and recreate some classic matches that were from the era that the games take place in. And YouTube, of course, has been fickle about it now, but it's also been inconsistent. When I upload stuff from 2K25, for instance, it'll upload the entrances and it'll keep the music most of the time. It hasn't, I don't think, censored that yet. But when I uploaded from 2K19, it automatically censored out the music for the entrances. So I have to do a little more experimenting. I have to be more careful too, because I have to see if it actually removes it or not. So going forward, it seems like it's based on the game itself. Like, it just automatically, it saw 2K19, it was like, yep, nope, and X'd it out. But why is it okay with 2K20? It must be per title, like an automated YouTube feature on the inside track there. So we'll do some more experimentation, but the thing is, if I do a Universe Mode, I want the entrances in. All right, that's a big part of it for me. So if I have to do it, I'll upload it to YouTube, because they do not do that, and then I'll do like a recap with my own commentary on YouTube, which will be, Rumble and YouTube. I'll have to make separate videos. It'll be a pain in the neck. That's the best idea I've got coming up so far in regards to that. So those are ideas I could do for projects I got going on. Digimon will be scrapped for now. I do still plan on getting the new game, because I love these Digimon games. I knew it wouldn't attract a lot of views, because Digimon never does. But it's a game I enjoy playing, so I was going to play through them. The thing, though, is these Digimon games are 50 hours apiece. I've already beaten Cyber Sleuth, and although I haven't finished Hacker's Memory, I've done most of it. And I can play those games on my own. I don't need to do it on the computer. Time Stranger, when I get it, I will have to play on the computer, but I don't have to stream it. I don't have to make content. It can be a way to unwind between doing stuff, so that's probably the plan going forward, and it's a good excuse for me to just skip to the new game instead of having to replay the old ones again. So Digimon is up for now, and probably won't be back. I might stream it from time to time, but I'm not going to worry about making a series on it or doing anything consistent. That's going to be a thing I do for fun. So yeah, anyways, that's the plan moving forward. So the first Universe Mode I'll start working on probably my days off here. I don't know how many days off I got coming to. Things are getting switched up at work again, so I might find myself working like non-stop for a while. That's going to be difficult. Content's going to stop. I'll tell you straight up, as much as I like making videos, I like sleeping too. And at the end of the day, it's a little more important to me to get the rest that I need, because I have to go back out and earn the money, because I need it. I need it all. I'm behind on everything anyway, so, and I might not have a choice, seeing how things are shaping up at the job. So I'd always rather be overworked than unemployed, in my opinion. So and hopefully it's still something I can manage. It's an easy enough position. It's just putting in the hours, So that could happen. There could be a future catastrophe on the channel on the horizon. We'll see. I don't know when. I don't know if, but it probably will. All the same, I'm still planning on these projects, and when I do get time off from, time to time, I'll take advantage of it and make what content that I can for you guys, and hopefully it's something you can enjoy and get some insight out of. Hopefully I'll also be able to include some more interesting podcast episodes for you guys, do some might review some old wrestling pay-per-views, that sort of thing, and we'll go from there. Okay, as usual, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. Next up on the list is going to be WWF WrestleMania, the arcade game. It's proven to be a much more difficult game than I remember. Of course, I am playing the arcade version now, whereas I used to play it on the Sega Genesis back in the day. So big difference there. But it's a much more complex system than I thought. A lot deeper of a game engine than a lot of people give it credit for. So, but we will be diving into that next up, and then of course In Your House, There Goes the Neighborhoods after that, and that'll wrap up the 2D era for WWE licensed games. So, hope you guys enjoy, and I hope you stay tuned. Until next time, this is Grim signing off, saying, stay salty.